fine. It's a belief system. He's allowed to believe it, and people are allowed to vote for it. But if liberals deny it, like he's just going through a goth phase, they're going to lose more elections. This is not a communist country. Turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zoran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
Is finally unfolding. Bill Maher is pulling back the curtain on what he believes is the true reason the Democratic Party's strategy keeps unraveling. In the middle of the ongoing ICE controversy, many expected the DNC's numbers to climb. Instead, its image appears to be sliding. A lot of observers are wondering what's going wrong. Maher says he understands the cause, and he argues it may surprise people. So hit that subscribe button for sharp, unfiltered political analysis, and let's get straight to the core of the issue.
Now, let me tell you about the story that liberal algorithms locked out. Her name is Sia Weaver, and if you ask anyone in the blue sky bubble who that is, they'll look at you like a turkey looking up at the rain. But she's kind of important in New York, being Major Mamdani's chief of the Office to Protect Tenants, and since Mamdani's big issue is the rent's too damn high, yes, he stole this guy's act. It's a very key appointment in the most important city in the country, which is also our financial center. It matters that the mayor stands by, and so I assume stands with, someone who says things like, if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize private property, it's over. Seize private property. Home ownership is racist. Elect more communists.
Maher opens his critique by highlighting what he calls the DNC's uneasy shift toward the far left. He argues this goes beyond standard campaign messaging, suggesting that some voters interpret the party's rhetoric as leaning toward socialism. Critics might counter that outspoken individuals don't define the entire Democratic Party, and that it's unfair to characterize a national movement based on one prominent voice. However, Maher maintains that this misses the broader dynamic. He points to New York not simply as a city testing ambitious ideas, but as the financial center of the United States and a worldwide emblem of American capitalism. Developments there influence national perception. If voters start believing New York is drifting toward socialism, Maher warns that perception alone could spread, reshaping how the party is viewed across the country.
Private property, especially home ownership, is a weapon of white supremacy. Really? Even among the 20 million black Americans who own their own home? I mean, these are the kind of utterances I might forgive as something a dumb white girl said while she was at Bryn Mawr. Because it's the kind of privilege hating you can only learn for $95,000 a year. But these are statements made as an adult. Yes, for co-eds from elite private colleges, you're only a lesbian until graduation, but the communism lasts a lifetime.
Maher further argues that the Democratic approach may be faltering for a straightforward yet politically charged reason. Many Americans instinctively react negatively to anything that resembles communism. According to him, the label itself sets off warning signals among voters. For a significant segment of the electorate, the term carries associations with excessive government control, economic decline, and restricted freedoms. Whether those fears are justified or overstated, Maher contends it is politically unwise to dismiss them. He notes that American identity has historically been shaped in opposition to centralized economic systems. Generations grew up during the Cold War when communism was framed as the chief ideological adversary. So when modern rhetoric appears to echo those ideas, even indirectly, it creates discomfort. Maher believes ignoring that reaction only widens the political divide and invites avoidable consequences.
Democrats seem to be having this debate whether or not Mayor Mamdani is a socialist or a democratic socialist. Let me settle it. He's a straight-up communist. How do I know this? Well, I'm reading between the lines when one of his major advisors says, elect more communists.
Maher insists that openly embracing socialist branding can damage the Democratic Party's overall image. In his view, the issue extends beyond one politician's agenda and centers on perception. When a high-profile figure promotes policies commonly labeled as socialist or communist, critics quickly amplify that label and attempt to apply it to the entire party. Maher argues that this narrative can be politically expensive. He also observes that even many millennials are not automatically convinced. While younger voters are often portrayed as strongly progressive, they are also practical about economic matters. Concerns about employment, inflation, business growth, and future opportunity remain central. If proposals seem overly extreme or financially risky, enthusiasm can fade. His broader warning is clear. Elevating figures associated with far-left policies gives opponents an opportunity to define the DNC as moving too far left. And once that perception solidifies, reversing it becomes increasingly difficult.
It's fine. It's a belief system. He's allowed to believe it, and people are allowed to vote for it. But if liberals deny it, like he's just going through a goth phase, they're going to lose more elections. This is not a communist country.
Maher's argument has moved beyond personal commentary and into wider political discussion. On Real Time, he characterized certain figures as outright communists and cautioned that Democrats risk electoral setbacks if they ignore how such branding resonates with voters. He may have a strategic point. Although support for socialist ideas has grown among some Democrats, polling consistently shows that most Americans still favor capitalism overall. Many Republicans, in particular, view socialism in strongly negative terms, meaning labels like communist or socialist continue to carry weight. Most voters are not looking to see the United States experience severe economic instability. Maher argues that if party leaders allow opponents to define them as radical without effectively countering that narrative, the political cost could extend into future elections, including 2028.
Turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zoran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
In making his case, Maher points to Venezuela's economic collapse as a cautionary example when discussing the risks of aggressive state-centered policies. Once among Latin America's wealthiest nations, Venezuela has endured a prolonged downturn marked by shrinking output, shortages, and declining living standards. Today, its economic output is only a small fraction of that of the United States, whose economy remains one of the largest in the world. The contrast is striking. The American system is built on diversified markets, democratic institutions, and private enterprise that encourage innovation and productivity. Venezuela's crisis, by contrast, has been associated with heavy state intervention and structural mismanagement. Maher's broader point is that straying too far from principles widely associated with economic stability can carry both political and economic risks.